Grit, Grace, and Survival. I wanted to write a story that imagines what life might have been like for my parents and grandparents during the Depression era, inspired by tales I heard at family gatherings. This story follows a family whose resilience and love carry them through the struggles of poverty and hardship during the Great Depression in 1929. In 1929 Philadelphia, life for Grace Webb was a relentless battle against the tides of hardship. She was a cantankerous woman, her sharp tongue and fierce demeanor a shield against the world's cruel whims. Grace stood with hands on her hips, surveying the narrow street outside their row home, a modest structure that creaked with the weight of her family's struggles. She had married John, a well-meaning man with a love for whiskey that often drowned out his responsibilities. John was a good man at heart, but the bottle had a way of dulling his dreams and ambitions, leaving Grace to shoulder the burdens alone. The Webbs had 17 children, each one a testament to their tenacity in the face of despair. Their home was filled with the sounds of laughter and squabbling, a cacophony that resonated through the thin walls. The older children were tasked with caring for the younger ones, a makeshift hierarchy of responsibility that left little room for childhood. The narrow street outside was a playground and battleground, where their imaginations transformed the asphalt into vast fields of adventure. Every morning, John would haul himself out of bed, shaking off the remnants of last night's indulgence. He would climb into the wooden cart that held their meager stock of fruits and vegetables, an assortment of wilting greens, bruised apples, and root vegetables that had seen better days. The cart was pulled by a tired old horse named Bessie, who seemed to share in the weight of their struggles. Grace would wave him off with a scowl, urging him to return with something more than empty promises and excuses. As the depression deepened, customers grew fewer and farther between. People who once had a little money to spend on fresh produce now resorted to bartering. Each evening, John would come home smelling of sweat and booze, his pockets still empty. Grace would meet him at the door, arms crossed, her brow furrowed in disapproval. "You're just gonna sit there and drink it all away?" she would bark, the weight of her frustration crashing down on him like the clouds above. "Just one more drink, Grace. I'll get the money tomorrow," John would slur, attempting to smile through the haze of alcohol. But that smile only ignited the fire in Grace's belly, for each day felt like a marathon run in circles and she was growing tired. Inside the row home, the children scurried about, their faces smudged with dirt and hope. They didn't receive allowances. Instead, they contributed however they could. The older ones took on small jobs, delivering newspapers or running errands for the neighbors. The younger ones helped around the house, fetching water, peeling potatoes, or watching over their siblings. They knew the importance of food on the table, especially with a mother who made it clear that every morsel counted. One day, as Grace stood over the kitchen stove, stirring a pot of thin soup that would have to stretch for dinner, she overheard her children whispering in the next room. They were discussing how they could find ways to help contribute more, brainstorming ideas for selling items from their small garden. "Don't you dare," she called out, her voice sharp enough to cut through the air. The children fell silent and Grace marched into the room, her fists clenched. "You think we can get more money by selling weeds? Focus on what we have, not what we don't." Her anger was fierce, fueled by exhaustion and frustration. As the weeks dragged on, one bitter cold afternoon, John stumbled through the door, his eyes glazed and his breath reeking of alcohol. Grace's heart sank. This was not the first time he had returned home in such a state, but with every occurrence, it felt like a fracture in their already crumbling foundation. "Where's the food?" he asked, his voice slurred. The children peered from the corners of the room, eyes wide with worry. "We've got soup and it's all we have left," Grace replied, her voice barely above a whisper. She didn't want to fight, she just wanted to keep her family afloat. "I'll bring home some food," John mumbled, turning to head back out. But before he could step outside again, Grace grabbed his arm. "You need to stay, John. The kids need you. We need you." In that moment, she saw the flicker of shame in his eyes. It was fleeting, almost as if he had forgotten what it meant to be present for his family. "I'm trying, Grace," he whispered, the weight of his failures hanging heavy in the air. Determined to take matters into her own hands, Grace organized a small vegetable stand outside their home. They would sell whatever they could manage to gather. Some potatoes, a few onions, and whatever else they could scrounge up from neighbors. It was a simple plan born from desperation, but it breathed new life into their routine. John, seeing his children bustling with energy and determination, felt a surge of pride. For the first time in ages he joined them, pulling out the cart and helping set up the stand. The family worked together, their spirits lifting with each sail. The neighborhood began to take notice, and for the first time in months, laughter spilled from their home. But the shadows of the depression were long, and as the months wore on, the chill of winter settled in. Business dwindled as the weather turned harsh, and soon they found themselves in another cycle of struggle. But now, instead of allowing despair to dictate their lives, Grace and the children leaned on one another, facing their challenges with resilience. As John watched his wife and children work together, he began to realize the depth of their love and the importance of his role. In the evenings, when the day's work was done, he would gather them around the small table, a light flickering from a single candle. They would share stories, laughter, and a simple meal, filling the room with warmth and hope. In a world defined by scarcity, the Webbs learned that love and determination could be just as nourishing as the food on their table. And while Grace remained cantankerous, her heart softened with the understanding that they were all in this together. Through the struggles and triumphs of life in 1929 Philadelphia, the Webb family forged a bond that neither poverty nor hardship could sever. They faced the darkness as one, fighting for a brighter tomorrow, believing that together they could weather any storm. Here lie the resilient souls who weathered the storm of hardship and hunger with grit and grace. They faced empty pockets and uncertain days but held fast to hope in each other. Through struggle, they sowed seeds of strength, leaving a legacy of endurance and quiet triumph for generations to come.